listen up. Y'all, it's the queen of automation, Meghan Donnelly, here to give you inspiration. Founders and business owners gather round. I'ma show you how to build systems that'll astound. Streamline your processes, no need for...
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Queen of Automation podcast, where we talk about why technology is only good when it works and how I help you make it work. Today is going to be super exciting because once again, I bring brand built members on all the time, but Kevin and I have had so many conversations over the past couple of months about different operating types of things, technology, ads, sales, marketing, like all of the things. And so this is going to be a really cool conversation for you guys because he comes from a sales and marketing background, and he's just a really cool guy. I'm not even going to try to tell you what he's doing now because I want him to tell you, but he's focusing a lot on YouTube ads and growth in the ad space, which I think is something very important this day and age because ads have been really tricky lately, and they're either really, really expensive or they're really shitty, and so his job is like all about making it easier on your small businesses, right? And less shitty. So Kevin Hodgkins, please introduce yourself, say hello. Where are you calling from? All of the, cheesy cliche stuff that you're supposed to do on a podcast.
I love it. Well, thanks for having me on, Megan. It's always a pleasure. I love listening to your podcast. Tech is huge, right? So it kind of runs the world. Also, sales, marketing runs the world. And if you can combine the two, there's no better partnership. A little bit about me. I'm in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, north of Maine, about 4.5 hours, on a little island called Prince Edward Island. So if anybody knows the Hunger Games, I say we're kind of like District 13 up here, that no one really knows us, but we enjoy the summers. We kind of survive the winters.
It's beautiful up there, I've heard, right? Like, I mean, it's just gorgeous. So my brother used to live in the very like tippy top of Maine, and him and his wife, but they don't live there anymore. But I've always wanted to go to the island because I've just heard like how amazing it is. It's quiet, it's peaceful. Is that actually the case? Is it as peaceful as it looks in pictures?
Super peaceful, even in the winter. Like, it's like snow's falling down, everything kind of shuts down. It's really homegrown, so everybody kind of knows the ins and outs of what's kind of happening in the communities. Summer, we probably generate or gain about 1 million people in the summer. They come from all across Canada or from south of the border to come up and try our mussels or try our lobster, all of our seafood that we have up here. But it is super peaceful.
Ever? Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. I can't even imagine though, like in the summer times, because that's insane to me, 1 million people. But the water there, even in the summer, is so freaking cold. Like I would go there for like the seafood, like you just said, but don't go there if you want to get in the water, people. Even when it's 90 degrees outside, the water is still like, I just remember going to my brother's house when he was in the tippy top of Maine during the summer, and it didn't matter how warm it was outside. The water like was frigid year round. That's kind of one of the places you just like don't get in the ocean.
16 degrees for us, which would be, I would say, he's almost like water temp. So the locals, we love it. We hop in. My wife will never get in the water, even if it's the dead of July and it's 90 degrees out. My wife will still not.
I knew I liked her for a reason. She's not wrong. It's freezing. I don't care. 40-degree water is not, no, absolutely not. Well, I thank you. I'm so glad that you're here because you bring a different perspective than, I mean, all of my guests do, but this is what's so great about doing this podcast is talking to each of you and each of these small business owners, because you each have a different perspective on like bootstrapping, right? Like most of the people I talk to have bootstrapped their way up into being very successful, or what I consider to be very successful entrepreneurs, right? And so you're no exception to that rule. So what I first want to ask you about, and I ask everybody about, is the whole like work balance, like cliche, right? Because you're in the same boat I am. You work from home, you have a family, and it's like this thing that's out there that cannot be separated, right? You can't separate yourself. You can't clone yourself, because if we, especially you and me, after all of our conversations, if we could clone ourselves, we'd be making way more money because there'd be like 7 Megans and 8 Kevins, and it would be amazing, right? We'd run the world, but it doesn't work that way. So I'd love to get your perspective on like how you handle the integration of working from home and having a family and just having it all be right there.
I think the way I would describe it, now this is my opinion compared to other people's, so it might be different or it could be similar. I hope there's some of us out there like us. but I time block everything in my calendar. So everything that I have going on throughout the week, throughout the day, I'm time blocking it and making like a perfect calendar of what I think a perfect week looks like, a perfect day looks like, a perfect month looks like. Now, integration of work-life balance, is that really a thing? Like to me, it's not, because if you love what you do and you're good at what you do, you communicate and talk to your family, you talk to people around you, say, "Hey, I'd love to do that, but I have this blocked off or this blocked off. I'm available here. I'm available here on Wednesday at 2. I'm available here at Friday at 1. I'm available here on Saturday in the afternoon." Only time I will take off is really Sunday. That's my church time. That's my family time. That's the time I get to hang out with people. But throughout the rest of the 6 days, my calendar's blocked off and I know what I have going on. And in the times that I'm not super busy, I'm busy. Like I'll say, I'm the busiest guy you know, because if I'm not busy, I'm busy doing something, right? So I'm either
Right.
figuring out funnels or figuring out marketing or figuring out sales process, reading more about what's kind of happening in the industry, kind of diving into the new tech that's coming out, especially in AI. Look what China's doing with their new models that they just came out with. So there's
They're
always things that are
insane.
integrating and changing and growing. And for us and for myself, I don't really think you can separate work and life. It's just integrated
Exactly.
into one.
And you are right on par with the rest of, like, almost all of my guests feel the same way, but it's because we're all like these little, like, scrappy bootstrapping entrepreneurs, right? Like, and our game is figuring it out, growing a lifestyle, not just growing a business. Like for me, it's not about just growing the business, it's about creating a lifestyle that I actually enjoy living. And so I want to rewind a little bit and I want everybody to listen to what he just said. 6 days a week. That's because that's what Kevin chooses to do, right? Like he chooses to be around 6 days a week to talk to people. Like I try to fit most of my meetings and most of everything into 4 days, right? And I make exceptions here and there. But the point is, you decide. Like you get to decide. You get to decide and pick your schedule and choose your schedule and build a life around the thing that you love. And now I haven't met a lot of the entrepreneurs, at least that I've had the pleasure of interacting with, especially in the brand build community, right? Like when we find a community, it's really great because then you have a community of peers to actually talk to and like bounce ideas off of when you get stressed out. You have people that you can go yell at. But it's amazing how different everybody's process is for like the integration or whatever you want to call it, like work-life balance, right? Because some people are like you, where they're going to work 6 days a week. Some people work 7 days a week. Some people work 4 days a week. Some people, like, it doesn't matter as long as you're doing it in a way that makes you happy. Who cares? Like everybody else, just leave me alone. Like I'm doing what I'm doing. You're doing what you're doing. Like who cares? Like we're all just doing what we need to do to survive and be happy, right? Like I just don't see anything wrong with that. So it's just super funny. I think that's great. Do you here's a crazy question, and this kind of leads us right into how we deal with ops, because time blocking is an operation thing, right? Now it can be a business slash personal, or it's time blocking is just life, right? Because I do personal time blocking, right, as well. How do you manage? Do you have free time for meetings? Like I have things time blocked off, but then I have like open blocks because that's where meetings need to be scheduled in and I don't want to move stuff around. I don't like touching my calendar because who likes touching their calendar? Like it's awful, like trying to move stuff around. So I always just like leave blocks. Or like today, you're like, oh, I can't do this day. I'm like, all right, let's open up Friday morning for Kevin, right? Because it's one of those things where I love, that is one thing I love about tech, when you get the right tech, being able to like close my calendar or open my calendar based on my life and who I want to talk to. Like that's exactly what happened today. So I'd love to get your perspective on that. And the reason is, for any of you that don't know, Kevin is working with, well, I'll let him tell you, but he's working with bigger businesses and dealing with large accounts. And so he's got lots of meetings and lots of conversations with people kind of moving around. So first of all, tell people kind of what you're doing right now, like in that YouTube ad space, because I think it's really cool. And
Yeah.
then go to that second thing.
I'll first answer the first question because I think it's going to lead into the next. I did an energy audit of myself, of like what gives me energy and where I have the most creative
Yeah.
space. And then also like where I see my energy start to deplete. And in that time, I kind of have my calendar open, but kind of I can put things in there if I need to. So my most creative space is in the morning. So I try to do my bigger rocks and move them forward in the morning. So what is the next projects that I'm working on this quarter, this week, this month, that I can kind of push forward and work on that for an hour or two in the morning. And then I have sales calls or meetings with clients from that. And then after lunch is the time that I will kind of block off because I need a coffee or I need an energy drink, whatever it is that I need to kind of boost myself up or go work out, go on a walk, go on a run, whatever I need to do that day or what I'm feeling that day to do. Because it does take a lot of energy to work with big clients. Like I'm working with consultants. I've worked in the Fortune 500 space, dealing with a lot of CFOs, dealing with a lot of CROs, CMOs, CEOs to see their vision and where they want to bring that down. And it's my job to come in and say, all right, how do we move you from where you are to your vision and kind of align that across the sales team, align that across the marketing team, align that across the customer success team of what they can do to make that vision come to life. So what I do on kind of the ad space, it's more of funnels, really, where we want to create systems and processes to create good creatives for people to know who you are. One, to bring them from problem aware to solution aware to then knowing that you solve that solution for them. And that's when they hop into that funnel, which is through ads, paid marketing, or it could be through content marketing, or it could be through newsletter funnels, or it could be through word of mouth. You could do the old style, which is like radio and TV and all that type of advertising. But as you know, in today's world, how many of us are on these things every single day, right? We're on our phones, we're scrolling. Well, some people, I try to stay off as much as I can because it's you get in that loop, right? Where it's just like,
doom scroll,
I've been
right?
here for 20 minutes. What's going on? But most of us we're searching for things. We're on YouTube, we're on Meta, Google or Facebook. And what I've found is Google is putting a lot of effort into YouTube. They know that they have the searchable engine with Google. And now they know that we live in a kind of a fishbowl society where we got 3 to 7 seconds to gain someone's attention. And they know the next space is going to be YouTube because people want to see it visually, not just read about it. I don't know if the markets has done that or the culture has done that or the younger generation is just attracted to that. I don't know what's changed that or made that possible. Probably because these things have made it possible where everything's in the front of our hands and our eyes. So Google's investing heavily into searchability on YouTube, and that's why ads and paid marketing is doing so well on YouTube, where coaches and consultants can go on and say, hey, here's how I help, here's what I do. If you're interested, click on this button below, brings them into the funnel process. And then from there, we get them from problem aware to solution aware to then hopping on a call and seeing if it's the right fit for them.
What I think is great about what you just said is actually what's a really funny story. I have been doing YouTube SEO. I mean, I'm a little older than Kevin. We're not going to go there, but I've been doing YouTube SEO for a long time. And what is super funny is it's now like this thing where everyone's like, oh, YouTube is a search engine. I was like, it's always been a search engine. And it's been the number one search engine in the world for like, I don't know, 7 years now. And nobody paid attention when they were searching for stuff. And then you wonder why the first 15 results are all videos. It's because Google is the largest search engine in the world. YouTube is the largest search engine in the world, backed by Google, who has the largest search engine in the world, right? And then until TikTok came, and then TikTok took over there for a little while, but it's now comparable. YouTube still is a better search engine SEO wise. So I think it's amazing that you focus on that part of it, right? Because SEO and searching and titles and all of that stuff is so important when you're creating stuff on YouTube, which is why I always love talking to you specifically about YouTube. I know you're way more than just a YouTube guy, but it's cool talking to somebody who gets like the YouTube like algorithm and how it works and how powerful it is. And I also want to remind people what a funnel is. So let's talk about that for a second, because you and I think very similarly in this way. First of all, people, let's break down this disgusting word that this cliche word funnel that everybody, talks about. Because first of all, everything you do in your business is a funnel. If I put a link that says book a demo and it goes directly to my calendar link, that's a funnel. Like, and that's the thing that people don't get. Like, people automatically assume a funnel has to be like 3 steps long or 4 steps long. No, it can be as simple or as complex as you make it, as long as it works. And to your point, as long as you're putting the right words on their ad or the right words on the thing that's moving you from one place to another, that's a funnel. It can be 2 steps, it can be 6 steps, it can be 18 steps. Please don't make it 18 steps. Oh my god. But it's this word funnel. Like, everybody always thinks of it so like, I don't want to build a funnel. Nat used to do that. He was like, oh, funnels, gross. I'm like, Nat, clicking your link to book your account, that's a funnel. And he's like, no, it's not. I'm like, yes, it is. Because you're guiding somewhere with a button or a call to action. So I would love to get your take on this, because I mean, I know your take on this because you and I have had this soapbox conversation before, but throw it out there. Like, talk about the difference in complexities of funnels that you build, because I know that there's like so many different variances of funnels, right? Like, they can be super complex, they can be super easy. They shouldn't be complex, but I know that some people make them like way more complicated than they need to be.
I'll explain it this way. Where is your ideal client sitting? And you should build the funnel around that. So to me, what are they paying attention to? What are they reading? What are they listening to? What are the things they're buying? What are the products that they're interested in? Like, all these psycho analytics that you have to know the details about your client about, which is one thing I talk to big companies. Like, what is the demographic of your perfect client? How do they think? Like, what are they paying attention to? Like, write these things down, because guess what? That makes better marketing. That makes way better funnels, and that makes your sales process way easier, because now people that are hopping on calls are actually interested in know what you do and know that you solve their problem. But I have found when you're inside from different funnels, people hop on a call. Yeah, I'm not sure why I'm here. Well, you booked the link. What do you mean you're not sure you're here? Like, do you know anything about us? Do you have any insight? Like, what was it that made you come on this call today? That's actually one of the first 3 questions I typically ask on a sales call is, what brought you on today? What was it that attracted you to hop on today? And they kind of tell you what was it in the marketing funnel that brought them onto that call. Now, these funnels can be different. So it could be a newsletter funnel where you have a newsletter. That's where your ICP is sitting because they like to read. They like to learn information and kind of be engaged that way. It could be an email funnel, an email marketing funnel, where you have a list of emails of people that have signed up for something. And you just keep targeting them and emailing them with value until they're ready to get on a call with you. It could be paid ads. It could be a way that you're doing it through Meta, you're doing it through TikTok, you're doing that through YouTube, where you're attracting people down a process to explain value or pain points that speaks to directly to your client for them to go down further in your process to become from, problem aware to solution aware and know that you're the one to solve their problem. It could be a mixture of both, of content marketing funnel. We see that all the time on LinkedIn, where these LinkedIn coaches are out there speaking and preaching about what they do, how they help. And guess what? People DM them and say, hey, I see that you've spoken about this for months. I'm interested, but they've been following them for quite some time. The best one that I've seen work super well, and the ones that are crushing it, are ones that are putting value out on YouTube. And it's a slower burn. I'll be honest. YouTube takes a long time to build up an audience, to build up a following. But guess what? Now you have your assets all in one spot, in one place, and they continue to be watched. They continue to be, you can retarget those people that are watching your videos with ads, but now you have assets to bring that person into your world, and they can see exactly who you are, what you do, how you help with value. And more often than not, if they're inside of that funnel, they will see that you are the right person to talk to, because you have I call it the juice. You have the insights, the methodology that they're looking for. You have the goods of what exactly they need to make their product, their service, their business scale in the way that it should. So funnels, it's a cliche word, but it shouldn't be, because it's what we all do. Like I kind of explain it like a water park. That big, like almost looks like a cyclone that you go down,
like
and
tornado thing.
Yeah, like on a tube, and you kind of start at the top and you work your way down, and then it kind of shoots you out the bottom. That's your marketing. That's your funnels. You bring someone at the top, they have a problem and they don't know they need help yet. You bring them down to say, hey, we know we can solve this problem. And then we kind of shoot them out the end where it's like, hey, guess what? We would love to help you solve that problem. And here's how we do it. Let's hop on a call, or download this PDF or watch this video, however you want to bring your client, your ideal client profile into your world and to speak their language of what their issues and their problems are.
100%. 100%. I want to highlight something that you said because I always preach, and I know you've heard me say this before. Anybody who's known me for more than 5 minutes is going to hear some of this stuff because I just say the same stuff on repeat because it's like people aren't listening. The words are the most important part. Funnels don't have to be hard. They don't have to be complicated, but they do have to have the right words. Okay. So even if somebody shows up on a call and is like, I have no idea why I'm here. Well, what word, like Kevin said, like, what did you read? What did you see that made you? And it has something to do with the words that were said, whether it's a video or a picture or whatever, it has words on it that made a person take the next action. So when I talk about my team and I talk about the first person that you should hire if you're looking to expand a team is a copywriter, not just a basic copywriter, but like somebody who really understands persuasion copy and how to resonate with words to your audience, because everything you do is about the words and the usability. If you have the best, most prettiest looking whatever experience and it's broken, you're screwed. If you have the best looking, most prettiest experience and the words suck, no one's going to click. It's just a fact, right? Like, and it's one of those things where it's amazing to me because people are, the whole industry is kind of clouded with like all of these things, and there's so much out there. It's like you have to break through the noise somehow. The ones that are succeeding, to Kevin's point, the ones that are killing it, it's because they are doing the best. They are shouting. They are in front, and they're 10,000 steps ahead of you because their words are reaching the people that need to be reached. And it's so amazing how a few words here and there can change things. So I'll give you an example from I have a video on YouTube and everybody's shocked because they're like, you have a video that has 44,000 views on it. I'm like, yeah, I know, but it was a slow burn. We had it out there, and it's like how to connect all of your Google calendars into one, right? And it started getting traction. And then sometime last year, I had my writer go in and we changed it to be more SEO friendly. We changed up the description a little bit, and boom. And now when Kevin and I are going to have this conversation, he doesn't know it yet, so shh, don't tell him. Now I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to talk to my buddy Kevin, because now that I've done that, if you do it once, you can repeat it. And that's what Kevin's team does to me, in my eyes. That is like my opinion of him and his team. He says, once you figure out the thing and where the people are, he's just going to take that and go boom and blow it up, right? Like that's sprinkle a little like sauce on there, the juice, whatever, and it's going to go. That's how I see your team. So I hope that's accurate, because that's how I kind of see people like yourself that do this. Now that I have this thing that's going to blow up, I'm like, all right, well, now I got to like go talk to somebody like Kevin, because I want to repeat that. And I don't remember what I did, because it was one of those things that just like YouTube is weird sometimes. Like it just took off. And I'm sure that it had something to do with changing the way the title was and like how people are searching. And so I'm sure, but it's such a cool phenomenon when something like that happens. And then you have to go like reverse engineer. I would love to hear just a smidge before, because we're almost at time. I would love to hear just a smidge about the process of like, just take the example that I just gave you. I come to you and I'm like, hey, Kevin, check out this video. It's got 44,000 views. Now what? Like, I want to create more videos like that. What do we do? Because obviously it's resonating. Now, I will say this. Obviously, I should be retargeting those people and that stuff, I know. But like, when I kind of look down through the comments, I don't necessarily think they're my ICP. At least I haven't gone too in depth, but they don't seem like they would be. So what would you do with that information? Like, let's just go through a little bit of your process. Like, I come to you. Next steps are.
Good question. I'll kind of preempt that with Mr. Beast. So
oh man, right?
he is a student of the game, right? And they're like, they're split testing, they're watching metrics every single day on creatives, but also copy, and also what's being said, and also the visuals that are coming into play. Those all come into account to your ideal client, or how to replicate what just happened on that video on YouTube. So as far as how big Mr. Beast got, is because he was a student of the game. He actually followed, he actually understood, he actually tracked the right type of metrics. So I'll speak to you the exact same way. The metrics like are the ones that are what you have to be tracking to make sure that you can replicate this. Because if it's just a one hit
Yep.
wonder, all right, I had one video that did 44,000. I have no idea what I did. So what do I do now? And it's going in and saying, all right, what was your hook? What did that hook look like? What was the watch time up until that hook? What was the watch time after that hook? How many people dropped off after the value piece? How many people dropped or stayed on after the value piece? Like all these metrics that you're kind of following along and say, okay, watch time is super important to YouTube, because now if they see that your video has a ton of watch time or enough that it's got past where 30,000, 10,000, 5,000 people have got to a certain point of the video, they'll start to promote that other parts of that video to outside of your market, outside of people that are searching. It's just part of their algorithm. So then you have to like fine tune that piece and say, okay, what was it that made them watch to this point? Go back and reverse engineer. What did the visuals look like at this point? What was the hook? What was the creatives that were said inside of this part of the video? And then now you can go to your team, to your creative, to your copywriter and say, all right, how do we do that for every single video? You know, this is what we've figured out. These are the metrics of what were watched, what made people stay on, what was attractive to a certain amount of people that kind of stayed into this point of the video. How do we replicate that in our market, but for different types of content that we can produce and put out? One big piece is always pain. You know, people will justify with logic, but buy off emotion. And why are they buying off emotion? Because it's pain. It's painful. And people will move forward more in pain than they will in any other situation, right? So most of the time people are watching because you've talked about a pain point, you've talked about an issue, things that are just really in their face right now and that they can't see past it. But guess what? You know that you can see past that of what the actual true pain is. And we call it the kind of the chocolate broccoli, right? Where they see the chocolate, but really it's the broccoli behind the scenes that you know you can solve, but you got to get them watching enough to say, all right, we solve these problems. It's watch time. It's metrics of knowing, you know, where are they falling off in that process? What was the visuals? What do they look like? What was said at that certain times? Even like having like a good thumbnail in the beginning, like the heading of your video is super key and super huge. SEO is super huge. Like you want to make sure that you're doing optimization of searchability on YouTube now, because people are searching and they're looking for videos. You want your video to be number one when people are searching. So there's a lot of things you can watch and pay attention to, but those are just some of them.
And that's exactly what it is. And it was it was a pain point because the title is now like how to combine multiple Gmail inboxes or something like whatever it was, which is what millions of people are doing, right? You have a personal Gmail, you have a work Gmail, you may have more than one work Gmail, and people are sick and tired of bouncing between all the different inboxes and they want to do it in one. That's exactly what the video does. And it's like 15 minutes long, so it's not even that long, right? It's super simple, straight to the point, and it's a tutorial of me showing them exactly step by step how to do it. And it was just one boom, and I was like, all right. Well, so, and you know me, I'm a tech and ops person, right? So I can make lots of those. So it's just kind of where I get stuck. And I'm sure you hear this all the time from business owners, right? Because I'm an owner. So I know I can make the video, but it's kind of like I need somebody to like tell me, okay, now we're going to make these videos. And you know what I mean? It's like when you're an owner, and you're a business owner, you get stuck running the business and doing the business things. So then when it comes down to creating other content like that, you just almost get blocked, right? Like there's almost like a mental block. Like obviously I know how to teach people how to do this stuff. It's like
Typically what I would say to a business owner like you is hook, value piece, explanation on a value piece with a lot of creatives every 7 to 8 seconds happening in that to keep someone engaged. And hook draws them in, value has them staying, and they're kind of like moving every few seconds in that to like another screen or to you talking back to another screen. What is the major video companies doing now, like Paramount or Netflix, or what is the WB one, Warner Brothers? Like every video, like big productions, every 7 seconds there's a switch to a new screen in the video, and people are engaged because they know our eyes, our attention span needs to see something different every few seconds, which Mr. Beast has spoke on a ton about.
Phenomenal about, yeah.
So those are the things that say, hey, hook, value, but switch different things in that video to keep people engaged, to continue to get them watching. Also around pain, because people move with pain. And if you know you can solve a pain point, they'll continue to listen because they have that pain in it. If it's big enough, they'll move forward in the process with you because you're stretching the gap. I'll talk about sales. You got to bring them from how painful is this to where they want to be of what their future state looks like. If that gap is big enough, you got to like basically make that gap so big that says, you know what, I can't do this myself. I need your help to sustain and fulfill what it is to get me to my future state from where I'm at today.
It's amazing too how, and I keep coming back to it, but it's amazing how simplicity, wins out over everything, right? Like I said, it was such a super simple video, and some of the stuff that I've seen you work on and do, like it's simple. Like it's just simple, straight to the point, right? What you just said, the three things, right? Like you don't need this overly complex. I don't know. It's very fascinating to me how this kind of stuff works and how behind the scenes. I mean, I'm a super nerd, so now of course I'm going to go check out every metric you just told me to check out because I'm like, ooh, data. I'm such a nerd when it comes to that stuff, and it's very cool. So I can't wait to go check this out now because I'm going to have a conversation with you later. But all right, everybody, I want you to tell everybody where they can find you and how they can follow along. Because first of all, if you think Kevin's a cool guy here, you have to go check him out on LinkedIn. His content is awesome. He's really great at storytelling, and he's really great at breaking down, as he did right here. Like he just broke down YouTube for you guys, like in what, 3 minutes? So he breaks down complex things into like step-by-step actions and simplicity, right? Which I think is probably why we get along so well, because I try to do the same thing. So tell everybody where they can find you if it's not just on LinkedIn, but we'll also drop links and stuff in the show notes.
Yeah. My actually best place to find me is on LinkedIn right now. There'll be things coming out later this year, which I'll be promoting on LinkedIn. As you'll see, I'm working on a big project behind the scenes, which is going to be fun. It's going to all be about sales enablement and a tool to help sales and marketing for different types of companies. Yeah, it's going to be good. So follow me on LinkedIn, Kevin Hodgkins. Any questions? Happy to help. You can DM me or you can just email me. I have it in my bio there. So check me out. Thanks again, Megan. This was fun. I love talking about tech and marketing and sales. So this is great.
Super fun. This is super fun, and I can't wait to. I won't tell. I won't tell anybody, but I know what the secret is, and it's going to be so cool. So please go check him out. Follow his journey because this is some really exciting news this is going to be a really exciting year for him. So I'm super excited for him. Anyway, guys, technology is only good when it works. Remember that. And we will see you all next week. Thank you, Kevin. Bye.